Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, Rangers. It's me, Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's 2024. Let's do this. Here's the credits, of course. Mike Ruekberg sang that song at the beginning, and he wrote that song, and he sang it with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Also, Patrick Brady, still putting this together. Video, audio, all of it. He's amazing. So, and Vilmos doing JackieKashianStore.com. Squarespace is doing the regular Jackie Kashian page, and I'm thinking of moving the Dork Forest and dorkforest.com away from WordPress because it's driving me nuts. But those are the credits. But if you go to JackieKashian.com, you can get Dork Forest merch. You can get my stand-up merch. You can get my stand-up CDs and DVDs, which you'd have to have devices for those. You can also see videos and find out any number of things. I have another podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show, but the Dork Forest is the flagship. 18th year. We're doing it, you guys. You can go to my Bandcamp or my YouTube for extra content. Please donate, is what I'm saying. It's 2024, and I think we've been in this long enough. Why don't you guys, everybody send me $100? That's what I'd like you to do. You can PayPal me. There's links all over the pages. You can Venmo me at Jackie Kashian. You can find me at a stand-up show and hand me a sweaty wad of 20s. Do something. But I love doing the show. I would love to make some money, is what I'd like to do. In other news, I'm sure there's more things that I should talk about, but I can't think of them. But let's listen to who's going to dork out about something, because that's my favorite part. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're all great. Let's get into the show. Oh my gosh, it's me in my garage again. It's Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. Rangers of the Dork Forest. You're doing vital work out there. Today, this week's guest is a comic from Portland that I don't know, though we've probably met because everything's a blur. Shain Brenden, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Sure. It's Shain Brenden, at Shain Brenden on Instagram and ShainBrenden.com. But Shain is spelled Shain, and Brenden is Brenden. And you have a new album, your first album?
Yeah, this is the first one. The first one. Yeah.
Nice. Welcome to the ever just checking to see if anybody has played it on Sirius. Either way, Pretty Funny is the name of it. And it's on all the platforms, and people should buy it instead of streaming it. You can stream it later,
great.
But why don't you throw $10 at everybody? So because you'll like it.
Nice.
Yeah, right. You enjoy. We're going to talk about toddler TV shows that I've never heard of, and it's because I don't have any toddlers. I suspect you have toddlers.
I do. I got a 10-month-old little guy.
Oh my gosh!
We're deep in it. We're deep in all these shows.
You're deep in it.
All this stuff. I wasn't knowledgeable about this 11 months ago, but now I'm all in. I'm all in now.
And you know what? And everyone has just breathed the sigh of relief that you weren't really into toddler TV shows 11 months ago. But we're psyched you are now, and because they do look cute. You gave me names. I looked up those names. What? Yeah. So Bluey seems to be.
Bluey's a shit, man. 11 months ago, if I knew about Bluey, I don't think it would be weird at all.
You wouldn't have kids. You probably wouldn't have a kid. You'd be busy watching Bluey.
I'd be watching Bluey. It's for anyone who doesn't know, it's an Australian kids animated TV show, and it's about these dogs. They're healers, Australian healers. The main one is named Bluey. She's 6 years old. And she gets into 6-year-old mischief with her little sister Bingo, who is 4 years old.
Okay.
All right. So that's what gets the kids in. My boy just likes the colors and all that.
Sure.
Yeah, all that. But here's why the show, in my mind, is dope, and I think everyone should watch it, because it does that thing where not a lot of animation, but in more modern times, animation, when there's show for kids, they got a little through line in there for the parents that's just above the kid's head. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's normally
That's
the
the
C story,
best.
and it's the
Yep.
best because like, I'll be sitting there and just kind of when I first started watching it with my boy, I'd be half-ass paying attention, but then I would hear
Right.
a phrase or something that would check me back in. I'm like, wait, what's happening right now? What are we doing?
Right. There's real people in a writing room somewhere going,
Yeah,
someone is
yeah,
trapped into watching this over and over and over again because their toddler's on board.
yeah,
That's so
yeah.
cool. And they're healers?
There.
Wait, they're dogs that are healers?
Well, the type of dogs, the Australian healers, apparently is like it's a breed of dog.
Oh,
I was
I'm
looking
sorry. I thought that they were shamans. I thought that they were doctors, and nurses, and EMT.
It's a
Which
different Australian television show.
that would be a different Australian, but also dogs.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and they're human age 6 and 4. They're not dog age 6 and 4, right?
Oh, that'd be a rough watch. Oh, see, I didn't mean to do that, but that'd be difficult. Yeah, they're human age. Human age,
Just
and
checking.
man, it's I was talking to a comedian friend of mine. She doesn't have any kids, and when my son was probably like 6 months old, it was after a show. We were all sitting around, and of course, I have to do the obligatory dad thing and show pictures of him. And she's like, "What are you guys
Right.
watching?" I was like, "Oh, we're watching Bluey." She's like, "I fucking love Bluey." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Right. There's an adult person
Yeah.
who watches Bluey.
Yeah.
How many seasons of Bluey are there? Do you know?
Yeah. There are three
Okay.
seasons, and there's like 20 plus episodes. Here's the thing: every episode, another reason why I like them is bite size, maybe 5 minutes long. Well, no, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Every story, every episode is 15 minutes. There's 3 stories in an episode. It's not like a half hour
Okay.
format. And it's
Right,
just
right.
go, 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 go. And
It's 15-minute format because we're talking about toddlers.
we're talking about
And
toddlers. Yeah.
and a digital age and a cell phone.
Sure.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
We can get the whole story out in 5. It'll be fine. So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
a
And
what's a
it's usually-
sample
it's-
story?
All right. Let me give you one that just made me. This is my go-to when I'm talking to other grown-ups about Bluey, and they're like, what are you talking about, man? And I'm like, I swear, there's a storyline for adults, blah, blah, blah. So there's this one episode called Onesie, the onesie
Okay.
thing the kids wear for pajamas or whatever.
Yep. Babies.
So check this out. So Bluey's mom, her name is Chili, all right,
Okay.
has a sister. Here's another. Sorry, side note. They don't spoon feed the audience. I think because this is the adult storyline, they know that you're going to put 2 and 2 together. So
Right.
Bluey and Bingo's aunt shows up one day, knocks on the door, and the mom opens the door. She's like, "Hey, hey!" And immediately you're like, "There's some weird thing going on between the mom and the sister." And then Bluey and Bingo, the girls, they come out and they're like, "Hi, Aunt." I forgot her name. Auntie. They're kind of weird. So like, what's going on here? So then Auntie's like, "Oh wow, you got so big. I brought presents." And she pulls out 2 onesies. One's a zebra and one's a cheetah.
Oh. And
So
they're
now the girls are
kids
like-
now, so they're not
they're kids.
babies.
They're not big. Yeah. So that's another thing. They're like, the girls are like, "Hooray!" And they grab it and they run off. And then at the title card, this episode of Bluey is called Onesies. Cut 2. The kids are wearing their onesies, but they're a little small. And the kids are like,
Right.
"These don't really fit that right." And then the mom goes, "Well, it has been 4 years." And the aunt's like, "I'm sorry." So, all right. So, and then at this point,
so it's real.
yeah, exactly. At this point, my son is trying to eat a Lego, so he's not paying attention. And I'm like, "Okay, all right, so let me grab him."
This isn't for you anyway.
Yeah.
So
So the kid's storyline is the littlest healer, Bingo. She gets a cheetah onesie, and her problem is she becomes one with a onesie, and whatever animal it is, she goes psycho and pretends to be that animal. So now now they have this crazy cheetah little sister running around the house, attacking her dad, like biting on the neighbor's ankles.
right.
And Bluey is wearing a zebra outfit. She's kind of sad because her little sister gets to run around fast and scare people, and she's just a zebra. So that's what's going on with
Right.
the kids. It's just like their storyline is, hey, just
Is what
pretend
animal
and be
onesie
happy.
did you get?
Exactly.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you got the mom and the aunt. They're kind of in the back. What do they call? We call it backyards. In Australia, they say garden. In the UK, it's all, everything
Oh,
backyard
right.
is a garden, right? They're back in the
Yep.
garden, and they're both kind of being weird. How are things? Things have been good. Yeah. Well, the girls have gotten big.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
It's
stilted?
gotten. Yeah. This is a children's show. It's like, well, maybe she's like, I feel real bad that I got them small sizes, and Bluey doesn't like zebras anymore, and now she likes elephants. And the mom goes, well, if you would have just come around before then, she's like, you know what, this was a mistake. I'm gonna go. And she's like, no, don't leave. And right as it's getting the most tense, here comes the little cheetah and attacks the
Yep.
mom, and then it turns into a game of the mom, the aunt, and Bluey. Like, we got to run away. We got to escape from the cheetah.
Right.
So now everyone's hiding from the cheetah. And
the ant didn't leave. And the ant lady didn't go away.
The ant got separated from the mom and Bluey, right? They're all hiding, but the ant got separated. So Bluey and her mom are hiding behind a shed, and they notice that across the yard, her aunt, she gets tackled by the little cheetah girl, right? And she's playing, oh no, she's going to eat me. She's going to eat me. She's like, you're dead now. You have to lay there. She's like, okay. And then from the ant, it cuts to the ant's POV, and she sees this little girl, and she's throwing in the air. She's playing. And then the little girl, the cheetah, she runs away, and the ant kind of like reaches out for her. And then this sad music starts coming on, and then cut to Bluey and her mom. And she's like, well, what's wrong with Auntie? And she's like, well, you know how some people really want something really bad, but their circumstances don't allow, it just isn't in the stars for them. Yes. And it's just like, oh, your sister can't have kids. And it's been too painful for her to see them for 4 years. And that's why she's laying there. And that's why she's sad. And that's why it's weird. And that's why when Bluey got her zebra onesie, she was upset because she really wanted the elephant onesie, but it wasn't written in the stars. So that's what she's just said. And it ties it all together. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I look over at my son. He's passed out. He's milk wasted. I'm crying. I'm like,
5 minutes
boy, wake up.
is done. Right. We're learning things. We're learning things about regret and about how to face disappointment
and acceptance. And not being envious of what your sister has. And it's so heavy. And then they tie it up together to make it light at the end by the little cheetah sister and the little zebra sister just playing together. And like, you know what? You can share my outfit or whatever. And then the dad just shows up and they beat the shit out of him. And it's just like, wah, wah, wah. And it's funny.
We're both cheetahs. I know I'm dressed like a zebra.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that
so
is amazing.
Not being able to have kids. But that's a children's television show.
Did you see Up? Was it Up?
Yeah.
She has a miscarriage in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. She has a miscarriage and dies.
And then dies. Right. Dies of And I remember just looking at my niece who I went to see it with, and I said, did that woman just have a miscarriage? And my niece, I think, was 15 at the time. She goes, I think she did. We're like,
it's nuts.
Aren't we seeing a Pixar film? But that was the first one. No, I think Wall-E was the first one that was all weirdly, and kids loved it. They really did.
They did.
But it was super somber.
Yeah. Yeah, I read somewhere a while ago that Walt Disney, especially in the old Disney movies, he had this thing because his mom died when he was young. So he had to make sure in a bunch of the early movies, somebody's mother has to die so you can feel his pain. And then I'm like, no, that can't be true. And then my buddy was like, Bambi. I was like, okay, what else? And I don't know.
Did his mom really die?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then all of a sudden he's like, you all get to live my pain. Yeah. My mother died when I was 7, but I had to deal with the fact that I was relieved. And then of course I got super dark, but I made peace with it when I was about 14. So,
nice.
Yeah, but I like the idea of like a children's show because I looked up Bluey and there's got to be, first of all, when you say that these are kids and this is their parents, these are all dogs. These are dogs
Yeah,
dressed as cheetahs,
they're all
dogs
dogs.
dressed as zebras.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's tiny dogs that are actually children.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
but they're 5-minute stories. And then there seems to be a just a boatload of characters.
yeah. There's a whole. It's like the Marvel universe, but for Bluey and all that stuff. They got neighbors, they got school, they got classmates. They'll be. I mean, the show is called Bluey, and it's focused on that one little 6-year-old blue healer. But every now and then they'll just do a complete side character story, and then the main characters will just be kind of in the background, hanging out, doing their own thing.
Well, that's kind of fascinating.
I know way too much about this show, man. It's
right. Well, did you ever see the Animaniacs?
I love the Animaniacs. I came up on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
great.
the Animaniacs are extraordinary,
Yes.
and it was the Animaniacs were three. They were Dot and her brothers,
Yeah,
the Warner
yeah.
Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and Dot, and then
Pinky and the Brain.
but
There was another side one.
right, there was a cast, just a cacophony of other characters, the
Yes,
birds
yes.
and the Pinky and the Brain, and
Yeah, the Mafia birds. Those are tight.
the,
The
the Mafia birds were outstanding.
the little girl
I
and her
love the
dog or something like that.
Animaniacs.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
the
was my
little
jam
dog
back
and
in the day. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you were probably a toddler going, this is great. But
No,
if you were to rewatch them, no?
elementary school. I was in elementary school. You know, I
Okay.
was a big
Six?
boy, but big fifth grader. Big fifth grader.
Oh,
Big
you were a
fourth
kid.
grader.
You were a grown up
Big
kid.
boy.
All right. Yep.
I remember that was latchkey kid era. I remember that. I remember having the key and coming in the house and watching that before the folks got home.
You know, it's so interesting because there was the latchkey era, and then there's me where we didn't lock the doors,
Yeah,
but nobody was there.
no one
And they
was
were
there.
just
Okay.
like, well, there's nothing to steal. There's 6 of us. There's barely any food in the house.
Come on in.
I have 4 brothers. Come on in. Be
Nice.
like Goldilocks. If you can find a place to lie down, we probably won't notice. And so, but I would say, so do you have favorite characters in Bluey? Or are they all just.
I'm
just
dad.
oh, yeah,
I'm
you're the
their
dad.
I'm the dad, 100%. It's been.
How is the dad portrayed? Because I don't know if you ever read Calvin and Hobbes, but the mom was always vilified. It was very sad.
No villains. No villains in this one.
No bad guys. No bad guys in any of it.
If there was a bad guy, it's the way. And when I was on TikTok, I got off of there because I just wanted to feel good about myself, so I got off of there.
Right.
But when I was on there, of course, the algorithm feeds me what I'm already looking at on my phone, so I'd see Bluey stuff. There's a whole section of the TikTok universe where they're parent TikToks, but they're parent TikTok psychos about Bluey. And they're talking about how, Bluey's mom and dad. Some people are like, this is great because it shows parents being great parents and playing with their kids. That's one side.
Okay.
The other side are people who are taking a made-up animated series about dogs too seriously, saying this is setting unrealistic expectations of parenthood and what's possible. I can't hold down a full-time job and be a good partner to my wife and play imaginary games with my kids all day. Who is doing this? I'm like, well, first of all, you gotta fucking chill, man.
Right. It's and what is fiction but idealized? I mean, nobody has a superpower, right? Nobody,
No.
and there aren't. Sherlock Holmes doesn't really get to solve every crime. I mean, you look at crime things, and there's crime shows where at one point somebody is like is a witch, or they're magical in some way because they have like a hologram machine that can recreate the entire the entire crime, and supposedly this is just a computer thing. They have they're the guy in the chair that can zoom into something and the pixels don't go away. I mean, this is all.
That's great.
Yeah, this is all fiction, including Bluey and his magical parents, who have time to do everything.
Well,
So
I'll tell you this. It does. I I go away on the weekends, and I come home. And when I'm home, I'm stay-at-home dad from like a Monday to Wednesday, Monday to Thursday, right? So
Right.
when I'm home with the kiddo all day and I'm watching this stuff, the dad he'll be hanging out with the girls at home, playing with them, doing
Yeah.
all the games they want to do and all that stuff. And it's just like, okay, they live in a really nice house. All right, even for an animated series. And there's mentions of mom and dad going to work. All right. And I'm
Sure.
just like, okay, I'm putting context clues together. Dad's like, all right, girls, you play amongst yourself. I got to go in my office and get some work done. And he'll be in his office sitting. He works remote, I'm guessing, because he's just there on
Right.
his
He's
laptop.
clearly.
And I think he works in some sort of sales. But on the walls, that's a detail. They have what looks like several different types of degrees. Okay.
Okay. So
and
maybe
then
he's
there's-
IT. Maybe he's remote
Sure.
cybersecurity.
Sure.
He could be
Maybe
cybersecurity guy.
he maybe sells weapons to the military, the Australian military. I don't know. Like, there's a battle axe in the corner and a
drop
dinosaur
ships.
bone somewhere.
He's not right. He's not fulfilling.
He
He's
drops
not in
ships.
fulfillment.
I need to get into that shit. Hell yeah. I don't know. And it's just like this is a well-to-do Australian sheepdog healer family, and oh god, there's this one
and
episode.
you just gotta be okay with it. Yeah. What episode? Go
Well,
ahead.
that's the thing. Like, I'm like, when there was it was a while back. My wife, she was off that day, so we're all here hanging out, and of course, Bluey ends up on TV, and she's on the iPad on her side of the couch. The kid, he's playing on the floor with his toys, and of course, I'm zoned in watching Bluey, and they're
right, just looking at the writing, looking at the anime, you're like,
I'm like,
I would love to make something like because this sounds like something I would love to make. You know,
I would love
like
to be in this writer's room. So I'm like emailing my manager. I was like, get me Bluey. Like, how do I get a
Can I please
who's
move to
accepting packets
Melbourne
right now? Exactly.
right.
I got 4 or 5 spec scripts of this show already. There's
All right, let me give you my. This is I'm going to give you my my Seinfeld spec. The only plot in a Seinfeld spec script that I wrote, I've written 2 spec scripts in my entire life, and then I realized I don't want to. So, but the one was a Spin City, Michael J. Fox.
Oh wow!
And the other one was a Seinfeld, and the only good plot. You know how each of the characters had a different plot.
Yeah.
And there was one main one, but the other 3 characters were doing something. Well, one of the things that was happening was George was on the bus, and the bus driver had a large belt buckle, and he made fun of the bus driver's belt buckle, which seems a very George thing to do. And so the bus driver kicks him off the bus, and he gets back in the bus, and the bus driver will not be nice to him ever again. He used to be really nice to him. And so throughout the 22 minutes of that show, that script, George keeps showing up with larger and larger belt buckles so that he can relate to the driver of the bus driver. And I say there's a Bluey plot in there. That's
good.
Yeah,
that's
that
good.
would be the only.
That is a Bluey plot. Yeah. But there has to be something heavy in there. There has to be some sort of tearjerker element in there too, man.
That's why they keep introducing the extra characters or something. Is it usually? Is there something very real in each of the episodes?
I'd say every other episode there's in that 15-minute block of the show, 3 stories. In one out of the 3 storylines, there'll be just a heavy one. Like you're gonna have to learn a lesson here. It's not just playtime.
Right.
The last one they did that got me was it was a special episode of Bluey where it was a whole 30-minute long one. I was like, oh shit, 15 extra minutes uninterrupted. Let's fucking go.
What is it? Is it Wuthering Heights? Does Bluey fall in love?
Oh, actually, in one it's alluded to, but the dad all of a sudden one day he came home and he's like, we're gonna have to sell the house. I got a better job offer in probably a bigger city, and we're gonna have a better life. And mom is just she's kind of okay with it, but not really. And then it shows how a 6-year-old Bluey tries to process selling the house, and how little sister Bingo, the 4-year-old, just has no idea. She's just like, yeah, we're going to sell the house and people are going to move in, right? But
Right.
Bluey is going to school and she's just like, I'm never going to see you guys again, and blah blah blah. And the kids thing,
Right.
how the kids deal with it. But then
Yeah.
there's a whole other storyline where it's like, Dad thinks that he's like, all I want to do is give a better quality of life for my family. I'm like, okay, check, I can relate to that. He's like, so we're moving away, but things are going to be a lot better, right? And then his wife, she's just like, yeah, I understand this. That's what we're going to do. But she's not saying what she really means. It's like, no, we bought this house before we had the kids. We're raising the kids here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yes, I support you. And yes, I want to support our kids having a better life. So it's like both of these, the husband and wife are not saying, they're saying what they think the other one needs to say and hear, but they're not saying what they really. And I'm just like, I'm looking over at my wife, who's not paying attention. Who's not paying attention. Right?
Who's not going to get to learn this lesson.
That's I pause it. Like, you didn't even rewind. Like,
you caught up? You caught up? Okay.
He's like, leave me alone. I don't want to watch.
I am trying to play this puzzle. Okay.
They get all the way up to the very end where it's just like the realtor comes by. He's like, congratulations. We got an offer that's over the ask. They say this in the kids' show. We got an offer over the asking price, way over. I'm just like, how would they know to say that? And then, so the little sister finally realizes that selling the house means that she has to leave, and that family, she's not just getting a new family to hang out in the house. The bigger sister,
right.
The big sister Bluey has already gone full circle and come to terms with the fact that she's never going to see her friends again. She's never going to have her room again. She went on this whole thing to be okay with it.
Right.
And then the mom is basically on the verge of breaking down. Remember that sister who couldn't have kids? She came back into the mix. And
there we go. Weighed in.
She was talking, weighed in about it, blah, blah, blah. And the mom had just built up enough courage by talking to her sister, like, I'm going to go back and tell him that I really want to stay here. So by the time she picked up the phone to call him, he answered the phone. Great news, babe. We made a sale. So she couldn't even say what she wanted to say.
Right.
So now all the family is back at the house. They're getting ready to hand over the keys. And then the realtor gets a phone call because the other dogs that were going to buy the house. One of the things they wish that the house had, because it has everything they need. They were saying it would be perfect if this house had a pool. They're like, oh, well, maybe we'll just build one. All right. So there's a scene where those other dogs are out sightseeing, and they look through one of those, you go to one of those things, and there's like a long telescope. You put a quarter in, you can see somewhere out there. They look in, and they're like, oh, I can't really see anything because of the fog. And then for some reason, the telescope lets them see the house that they're about to buy.
Right.
But just over the hill, they see a house that's almost exactly like the house. But what? It has a fucking pool. And then they're like,
gosh.
They're like, that's the one. That's what we need. They're like, what do we do? And then cut to Bluey and the family standing there at their house with the realtor. The realtor is like, hold on a second. He gets a phone call. It's those dogs saying, hey, we want to back out of the deal. See how we can do it. He tells the family, unfortunately, they want to back out of the deal. And the dad's like, fine, good, no sale. Good. He's like, what do you mean? What about my commission? He's like, get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit. And he grabs the dad. And then it goes into slow motion. And then they hit you with that slow R&B sad music, Australian stuff. And then the dad runs up to the front yard. He grabs the for sale sign, rips it out of the ground, and then just throws it into the street. And it cuts to the rest of the family running towards him. And they jump on him. And then they go get takeout. And they're eating food in an empty house. And the girls are running through all the rooms. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, oh, God. And my wife takes her headphones off. She's like, what's wrong with you?
Wait, they had already packed up the house?
Everything was empty. The last scene is them sitting in their dining room on the ground, eating takeout and sleeping in sleeping bags.
What? Because it is a children's show, they have to actually be very, very clear and just go, you don't live here anymore. None of your stuff is here. We're emptying this house.
Yes. Yeah,
and then they're like, we're going to give you the keys. They back out of the thing, and then everybody gets to say what they really think, which is, we don't want to move, and he doesn't want to change jobs.
Yeah, and I'm not giving back the closing costs. He already paid in cash. I'm not doing that. I'm not dealing with the brokerage fee.
The closing. Yeah.
It's an intense show.
It's a children's show.
I know, man. Those Australians, they're on something on that.
Right. That is, you know what I love about it is that it doesn't dumb it down at all. So, like, as your son grows up, you could revisit this show and they will see different things every 5-10 years.
There's a good chance I'm probably going to be the only one still watching this. Yeah, it sounds like he's going to move on. Him and his mom already don't watch the same show to watch, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, Bluey's my jam. I love that show. There's another thing. He doesn't get a lot of screen time or anything like that. If he does, it's either like this short episode of Bluey, and then there's this lady named Miss Rachel who's on YouTube. And she's basically, she has these videos.
Is she Australian as well? No, she's U.S.
Nope, she's American. Thank you.
That's right. And we're bringing it back home, you guys.
Bringing it back.
And but she's a musician, and it's sort of toddler music, right?
Yeah. It's basically, I read her bio and all that. Well, first of all, this lady, she started making these videos because her son, she's like a licensed social worker, preschool teacher, whatever. She started during the pandemic making videos for basically toddlers and all that stuff, because I think, all the kids who were in her class, they're stuck at home. So it's just like, let me make some videos for these age kids that I know are now stuck in the house. And it's like lightning in a bottle, because other parents and stuff like that also needed someone to talk to their kids, I guess, during the pandemic.
Right. We're talked out. What else is available?
I'm done. These kids can't leave.
But they're songs, right? They're videos, or does she also in the videos talk?
Yeah, most of them are songs, and then the other ones are straightforward, like letters, alphabet, shapes, and all that stuff. But I put that on for him.
So kind of teaching stuff.
Teaching stuff, yeah. He'll learn some stuff. I sit there with him and watch it and all that. But the interesting thing about that is she got so wildly popular, and of course, YouTube, people, you could become a millionaire on YouTube if you got the right stuff.
If you do it right.
She has 500 million subscribers. Some of her videos.
500 million.
Some of her videos have 500 million views, and there's multiple videos. So I think New York Times wrote up an article about her, how a preschool teacher went from $0 to $10 million and has this whole enterprise and all that. And since then, just knockoffs. Her name's Miss Rachel. Now there's Miss Stacy, Miss Kim, Mr. Eric, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Everybody's trying to cash in. And it's not working for other people.
Right, because content is needed.
Yeah, right.
But she was the original one, essentially.
The original one.
Or right there.
I was just like, why am I wasting time uploading stand-up clips to YouTube? Let me just talk straight to camera about pee-pee, poo-poo, doo-doo, and ABC.
Right.
And that's the thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, because it's just like, I don't have that. There's something about child actors, not children actors, but adults that are acting for a child audience. They don't have a cringe reflex. They don't have like a embarrassment reflex, I don't think. Because I try to put myself in their shoes.
Well, did you see the Mr. Rogers documentary? Or it was a biopic, and then there was also a documentary.
The Tom Hanks movie, but then I think I watched the doc too. Yeah, I watched the doc. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never did.
It never did, because there wasn't another shoe to drop. It turns out, he was a good guy. He was just a good guy, and it was SNL and comics in the late 70s who were like, it's a little creepy, don't you think? And you're like, or he's just an adult man who would like to give something back to little kids and give them some self-esteem. How about that? And
Yeah.
he was like a preacher. He had a theology. And so it made me think that he had sort of gotten in touch with his sort of gentler side for himself too. And
Right.
so he could unapologetically believe in God and not be gross or mean about it.
Right.
And that's what I think confused people who were raised in kind of pejorative religions sometimes,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes it's real triggering for some people, but if you were raised in a perfectly nice religion with decent people, you're just like, no, this is actually quite helpful, and this is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but I do think that when he talked to children, he talked to them as people, which I think
Yeah.
is so important, and I think the first ones, though I don't know what Captain Kangaroo. I don't think I've seen it in a
Yeah.
thousand.
No, because I think that just seeing clips and stuff of like Captain Kangaroo and all that, that was more like a children's variety show kind of thing. I think you're right. He was the first one. Like, hey, I'm talking to you for you, and here's some
Right.
lessons. Let me watch these dudes. Let me watch this guy's feet. I think that was big and controversial. He washed the black postman's feet in the kiddie pool,
Right,
and they were
right.
like,
He's
they're
like,
what
the kid,
the hell are you doing?
right? What? How you shared a pool with a black guy? The world's gone mad,
The
and
world's gone
he's like,
mad.
well, it's a hot day. It's a hot day.
Yeah.
He's got to keep walking because he's the postman. So
Yeah.
it was a great way to. I mean, there's just such great lessons. Like we didn't have preschool when I was a kid, because I'm 100. I'm sure someone did, but the thing is like, I remember watching, and I kind of grew out of it where I was just like, well, you don't have to give me these baby lessons anymore. I get it.
Right.
But when I look back on it, like if I were a parent, I'd be like, well, these are actually good lessons.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah.
Because, and that's what Bluey actually sounds like. Like Bluey sounds like it's a lesson. It's the lesson is there. And
Mhm.
but if you're an adult, you're like, oh, communication. What a great idea.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It's purely for me at this point because he's just stoked that there's moving. I mean, I've been watching this for like 3 months now. He's 10 months now, so sometimes it would just be, oh, look at those colors, look at those blobs moving around.
Right.
And here's that theme song I recognize, and he'd get bouncy and all that stuff. The Miss Rachel thing is more his speed because it's like this lady talking like to an infant and blah blah blah. So the Blue stuff, I realize that's purely just me. I don't care if he's in the room. I don't care if he's home.
You'll watch it anyway.
Yeah.
But do you like any of her songs? Like, are they catchy?
Here's the thing: they're stuck in my head, whether I like them or not.
Oh, because too many times.
There's just too many times, and then I just find myself I'm washing dishes, I'm hanging out, I just kind of start jamming out in my head to her songs. But it helped me out because I had this problem when he was first born where I'm like, I don't know any lullabies, I don't think.
Oh,
and
right.
I'm like, I gotta hum something to him. I'm humming him songs just that I listen to that are just, they're not good.
Right.
And so she reintroduced me to these things I can like. This is what kids like. Okay, I can do that. All right, so now I'm good to go with that.
Oh, that's great. I remember once singing "Cats in the Cradle" to one of my nephews when a long time ago, because just like the auntie in Bluey, I don't have any children, but I've made peace with it anyway.
Yeah.
But the because I have 13 nieces and nephews and 6 great nieces and nephews. It's all
Nice.
working out.
Nice.
The jackass gene runs true. There's no need to add to the mix.
Yeah.
But I'm singing "Cats on the Cradle" to my brother, who at the time was a Republican. He's better now.
Nice.
So
Congrats.
he what?
Congrats.
Oh, thanks. And he's still a button pusher, which is what I think brought him to the grand old party. But but what left him was treason, and good for him. Anyway, but I'm singing "Cats on the Cradle" to my nephew, and his wife says, "Don't sing that hippie stuff to him. He's going to grow up to be a liberal." Ha ha! He's a liberal.
Got him.
He's grown up to be. Got him. Got him at no, it wasn't Cats in the Cradle. It was One Tin Soldier. So, which is
okay.
another old hippie rock, not really rock tune.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
So, well, that's cool. So, are there like because your third dorkdom like blends right into this sort of the Instagram family influencer kind of things.
I think there's all right. This is the dark part. I think there's but I might be a hypocrite because my IG feed is it's comedians and then someone doing like a parent hack thing to help save time. This is how getting your kid out of the door. Here's an easy way to put on socks so they don't rip them off. And I'm just like, hell yeah, that does look easy. Save, right? But
right.
So those are helpful. But then there's this whole group of influencers that just have their family is part of the brand that's making them wildly popular. That's getting them all the clicks, which we know gets them sponsored ad things, which content creators, they got to consistently do it. And I get it if you're just a solo person, you're like, hey, this is my wood shop and I'm doing this. But when your content is, hi, I'm a white mother with biracial children, my husband's black. Oh,
and your hook?
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is how I figured out how to do my daughter's hair, even though she, as a, this, or even simple stuff like travel parents, right? That will like, hey, this is what it's like traveling with two kids. They're always little toddlers or whatever, or single digits. And it's like at this beach, at this pool. I'm just like, you got to know that there's a big chunk of creeps on the internet that are looking at pictures of your kids in
your kids,
and you're doing so it's just like
it's so hard to put your it's like all of my they're like there's no reason to put to it's essentially monetizing your children.
Yes,
and just saying we can watch them grow up and in real time, and they're not going to appreciate it when they become adults,
right?
And
but when they become teenagers,
you got to buy them
when they open up their accounts and they're just like, oh shit, why are all these creepy people that I don't know friend requesting me? Oh, because they follow my mom's account for 13 years, and now they just want to follow me now.
Right, and there is a kid that I followed from when she was 7, but she was a professional skateboarder from Rio de Janeiro.
Good. I'm glad
and
you
now
had that
she's
last
17.
Part. Oh, I think I know about her. Yes. She's badass. Yeah.
She's an incredible skateboarder.
Yeah.
And but a friend of mine's kid who was 14 turned me on to her when she was about 11.
Yeah.
Maybe she might have been 10. And so I was like, holy smokes. And she's been winning, X Games and
I heard
Olympics.
About that
she got
girl.
the bronze, I think, or the silver this year. And and so I think that is, if they have a job where they're like an actress on a like on a TV show, sure. But if they're just, if you're a plumber or a lawyer or in HR, and you're like, well, maybe I could make, an extra $1,000 a month if I show you how I interact with my children.
Is. Yes, how my family is. And see here to a certain extent, I get it because like this might seem a little mean, but I see a lot of ugly kids out there on the internet, right? And I'm just like, I got a good looking boy.
I got a good looking kid right here.
I got a good looking kid, and it doesn't make it any easier when other comics, buddies of mine, who have kids or don't have kids, they're like, dude, the minute you decide to go to the dark side and put this kid out there, like just doing skits, and I've had
it might be a cash cow, but
he will be. He is a gorgeous looking little boy, and I got ideas, baby. Daddy's got some minis. We can take over reels and YouTube shorts, but I'm just like, because me and my wife we made an agreement because even she broke down. She's like, look, you see these ugly out there? She's like, you can post on your story. Nothing on the grid.
Because it goes away in 24 hours.
It goes away.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, if somebody's being creepy, they can just screenshot She's like, if somebody really wants to put in some extra effort to screenshot a picture, then you know what, fuck them.
Yes.
But you know, family
Yeah.
moment, we're out,
Right.
and the in-laws want to take a picture of me and the baby and the one in the family. It's like,
Yes. And then
sometimes
they
we'll
put
just-
it on their Facebook. Yes.
yeah, put a little emoji over it. But the thing that just kind of irks me sometimes is I guess I just see the folks that they're not really comedians, they're not comics, but they saw an opportunity and they went for it and it worked out for them, which that happens in a lot of
And now they're getting
parts of
booked in
comedy.
clubs, and I would
Yeah.
like those 3 weeks, please.
Thank you. It's like, okay, you're getting booked. Now I can't work this B room in Madison on a Wednesday because you have hashtag dad life and you got 4 million. So all these people that sold out
Right.
2 shows on a Wednesday are coming to see you, but did you bring the kid? You better bring it. If I
Right.
want to show up, because if I'm not a fan of comedy like most of these people who end up liking and subscribing to these guys, it becomes a Q&A, am I right? So they want to go see the person they fell in love with on their phone.
Right.
But if they fell in love with
Right.
you because of your kid, you better bring that fucking kid to that helium or something.
Right. Well, Kathleen Madigan, I just talked to her the other day, and she has a podcast.
Yeah.
It's called Day Drinking or some damn thing.
Hell yeah.
But whatever it is, people come to her shows, and some of them don't even know she does stand-up.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
And she's like, well, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to drink for an hour?
Yeah.
And so what do you think? And that is exactly what they think is going to happen. She's like, no, I was going to do my act.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And, but I heard about, I didn't see this. I heard about a great sort of parent hack so that you send your kids to preschool and you get the kid back. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you don't know that preschool teachers do with small children is they don't say, I will give you they don't say, I'll give you to the count of 3 to put those shoes on. We're getting out the door. They count down. They're like 3, 2, 1. And then they just pick them up with the shoes or no shoes, shoes in hand, and put them outside.
Put them outside?
And,
I would love to do
for
that.
recess, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. For a different, it's just like it's a sense of urgency that 1, 2, 3 doesn't create. I guess 3, 2, 1 creates a sense of urgency,
Interesting.
which I thought was an interesting, weird, fun fact about dealing with small children. I used to do childcare when I first moved to Los Angeles, and of
Nice.
course, prior to moving to Los Angeles, with my brothers, who were
Nice.
like, "Oh, Aunt Jackie will take care of you." Well, of course, she will.
Well, see, here's the big kicker. Sorry,
Yeah.
This is
Please.
This is not my first rodeo. My son has an older sister, and she's 13 years older. So I really just spread it out. So
Right.
So
Did you what children's shows did you watch with her?
I don't
Like Barney?
I don't remember. There was
Yeah.
one called Doc McStuffins. That was a Disney Channel one where this little black girl, her mother was a doctor, and
Okay.
and she also pretended to be a doctor. She helped doctor up her stuffed animals and her toys. So I thought, I was like, I can't be mad at this. There's a little black girl and she's a doctor. She plays with her toys. Sure, kid, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, you could watch this. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because even my daughter was just like, I remember when we went to go buy the books because my wife wanted to go get the what to expect when you expect all the books.
Okay.
I was like, what are you doing? She's like, what?
You've already done
I'm
this.
fine. Look at me. I'm like, I don't
Success.
if we got one extra book, you'd be, I don't know. Maybe you would skip the grade or something. And she's like, she's like, why do you need to relearn this stuff? I was like, kid, because you were born like a million years ago in my mind. Like, I don't remember.
Right.
I was like, also pull up a chair because you need to learn how to change his diaper too. You know, I had you to help me out, you know, that type of stuff. So
we're all in this together.
Whether you like it or not.
You're part of the team. So sorry.
Yeah,
I know you'd like to not. So
I don't know.
That's huge.
It's a re-education and all this stuff. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think the parent influencer thing was a thing when she was younger. And
Right. I think that
influencers
is
look that
definitely
big.
last 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. So it just seems gross to me. But also, hey, to each its own. If you want to have your whole family out there, I'm sure they're making a lot of money. But
Well, and sometimes they aren't. And the thing is
yeah,
what they like is they like the, there's two things that can be going on with the illusion that things are going well.
right,
That when they turn the
right,
cameras off, are they still going well? And,
right,
and then the other thing is, keeping up with the Joneses, I think, is a real thing. But
sure,
then there's the other thing where if they aren't making any money, but they actually, just like you with your son, you're like, he's so cute. He's
yeah,
just hilarious and cute. And you should see how smart
yeah,
and funny this kid is. Yeah.
yeah, true. And then there's also I think a whole other side is just flexing on other families. Like,
Yes. That's keeping up with the Jones kind of thing
yeah,
where you're
yeah,
just like, you don't do this.
yeah,
We're all dressed as the same pajamas
yeah.
in front of a Christmas tree.
In this
And you're
big
like,
ass house, I'm just
in
like,
this big
oh,
ass house where the tree is 20 feet tall. And
sure, sure.
yeah, and you're like, nobody cares. Stop.
It's
Except
it's
for that it makes us all care.
it's
And
bad
you don't
enough.
want
I
to.
feel bad about stand up, looking at other people's stuff on Instagram. Now I got to feel bad about how I am as a parent, looking at other. That's what it is. I'm looking at the kill tally
Right.
of parents. These people who are just
Oh,
are just doing hot
don't do it.
1 minute parent, and then they're just getting all these followers.
Well, I will agree with your daughter and say you've already successfully raised a child to being
Yeah,
she
she's
can make
awesome.
her own
She's good.
sandwiches. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's all you need to do with your son, and I think it's so either way, Pretty Funny is the name of your new album,
Yes.
and I have been talking with Shain Brenden, and it's ShainBrenden, and ShainBrenden.com at Shain Brenden. And this has been super fun. Thank you so much.
Jackie, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a good time.
Sure, everybody, get out there, get the album, and just
Please.
buy it before you stream it. Okay,
Thank
and
you.
Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?